Someone once said, good conversation is food for the soul. Great conversation is what happens when a conversation flows no matter how random topics get. We are in the business of creating great conversations. Welcome. This is A Few Minutes With. Good evening and welcome everyone to this episode of A Few Minutes With. I am Sergio Barrera, and joining me as always is the lovely Bruiser, Susan Chisholm.
Susan Chisholm, that's me.
Welcome.
Welcome indeed. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Yes, it's been a
whole minute. You've had some studio remodeling studio. Hang on, let me start it again. You've had some studio remodeling being done and a little bit of illness. I have had a little bit of illness and being lazy AF. So
yeah, I'm spilling my business all over the place. Absolutely. So
like you haven't posted all over the place. Come on now.
This is true. But yeah, it's been a couple of weeks since we've been on air here in 2024, and that it is, again, as Susan said, mainly due to the fact that in the middle of a studio renovation relocation. If you have watched the show before, then my background looks very, very different because I'm now in a basement and I'm green. Look, so
it's a work in progress.
It's definitely a work in progress. Yeah, much has been done. The goal was to get back to podcasting this week, and that goal has been accomplished. Now we figure out what the paint scheme is going to look like, what the lighting is going to end up being, and hopefully by next week we'll get all that worked out. But if not, hey, you're not here for the lighting, you're here for the conversation. So
it's true.
Susan, how have you been?
I still look pretty. I've been great. I got to do a little bit of Cullen and I actually got to go do some sightseeing in your town. We went a little sightseeing. We just kind of had some food. We went to a brewery. We kind of hung out in Southtown and just walked around Southtown San Antonio. It was actually a lot of fun. And there was a point at which he said, you know, San Antonio's not as bad as I thought it was. Like, the people here are actually pretty cool. And I was like,
wow,
that's what I've been telling you.
I love that. It's not as bad as I thought. Someday we'll find out what that means. So we'll have Colin on next week, so we can talk about that. Right now, I want to say hello to those who are already in the chat joining us. We thank you so much for being back. Savage is there, good old Gator, our buddy Drew, and of course Captain Sparkle Friends. Thank you all so much for participating already in the chat. This is going to be a good night for that because we're going to do a what we like to call around here a rapid fire roundtable, which is just going to be a series of questions that we're going to discuss, but it's not going to be just you and I, Susan. We have a very special guest who will be joining us. Indeed. So I think we should get right to it as we bring on my mortal enemy and nemesis, Rika. Rika Salazar. Do I use the Diaz, Rika? I'm always not sure. Does she hear me?
Yes. How do we call you?
So Rika, welcome to the show. We appreciate you being here.
Yeah. It's going to be such a blast. We've discussed beforehand how often Rika and I are going to be picking on Sergio this entire time.
Yeah. And so a little bit of over talking, but I think we'll work that out. So Rika, I think you might be on just a slight delay, which we didn't anticipate. So we'll figure that out as we go along. But again, as I was saying, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate it. And it's going to be a fun night of conversation for the three of us here on A Few Minutes With. For those who are joining, we have often said that this show is really a podcast about everything, and such. And so tonight, I just thought, you know what? Let's get some folks together. We'll have a discussion. We'll ask the chat to participate as well. And we'll see how it goes. So, Rika, are you ready?
Sounds good.
All right. I think the delay has resolved itself. So cool. Fantastic. Yeah. So earlier this week, Susan, you and I were able to score some tickets for Billy Joel and Sting here in San Antonio. And it got me thinking, And I wanted to start with this, not within the last 5 years. I want you guys to go further back in your mind. And I want you to tell me, what is the most memorable concert experience that you can recall from your further back? What's one of your most memorable concert experiences?
I'm gonna jump in here. Okay, so 2003. Probably my first real concert ever. Not like, so Austin has a pretty famous, what is it called? Like live music scene.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
A lot of like small venues in downtown Austin, which you can do. So I consider those concerts, but not like necessarily like real big name concerts. So the first real big name concert that I had was in 2003 or 4. I can't remember. We got to see the Blue Man Group at the Frank Erwin Center. And fun fact, you and I have talked about this, Sergio. I think we actually might have been at the
There's a pretty damn good chance.
Before we even knew of each other's existence.
Yeah.
And we were, of course, in the nosebleeds, but like just the energy and the like, you have to stand up and you have to jump. Like you have to do this. You can't sit down through the Blue Man Group, and it's hilarious. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do an of course you did to your story, Susan, because Blue Man Group, by the time I saw them in Austin, that was the third time I'd seen them, because I saw them once in Vegas, once in San Antonio, and then once in Austin. And I think, like you said, we definitely know or suspect that we were probably at the same show. So, Rika, What about you?
Oh, so one who's Billy Joel. I'm at a loss on that one.
Say that again. What did you just say?
Yeah, I maybe if you told me a song, but different. Yeah. I have
wow. You came up with a different time.
Rika, run.
Billy
Just
Joel.
run. Don't go to work on Monday. Just run.
I know.
We'll pick up this conversation.
I'll send you some links.
I know. It sounds so bad.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I'm going to take this back.
Okay.
To like the 90s. The most memorable concert I have is going to a Garth Brooks concert.
Oh.
He was at the Alamo Dome. And we were at the highest level you could be, myself, my mother, and my little cousin. And they were all in it, and I fell asleep in the bleachers or the stands.
I love it.
Yeah.
Dare I ask, how old would you have been? How old would you have been?
Oh, I probably was like 10. No, maybe 8 or 9.
And you fell asleep.
It was before 2000, that's for sure.
I've never seen Garth Brooks live, but he does a pretty energetic show.
Oh, everybody was having a blast. My mother was literally almost on top of her chair. Everybody was having fun. I was just like, he's putting me to sleep. So
wow.
I fell asleep. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. Well, our friend Drew took it back to the 90s as well. He says 1997, the show was Goo Goo Dolls and Bush.
I would kill to go to a concert.
That's quite a bill right there. Do you know those bands, Rika?
I'm gonna really have to run. I have no idea who.
There's this thing called music, Rika.
Right. Give me Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera. Like Goo Goo Dolls I've heard, but Bush I have no idea. Is that like
Bush sang the song? The Bush sang the song about One Headlight. You'll recognize it. Like look it up.
That was the Wallflowers.
That's Wallflowers. Sorry, my bad. Machine Head.
Machine Head was Bush. Yes, absolutely.
My brain went sideways. Sorry.
Glycerin.
Oh my God, what's it? Yeah, there was like Vaseline. Yeah. Nope. My brain is not braining. I do apologize. It has been a very long day.
Gotcha.
For me so far.
All right. No idea.
I need
for myself, if I go way back, I think my most memorable concert had to have been, and it's funny because you bring up the Austin music scene, Susan. I remember when South Park Meadows was not a shopping center. South Park Meadows used to be one of the best concert venues. Open field, South Austin, fantastic bands that I've seen there. But I still go back to a show, my very first concert ever that I ever went to live. It was at the Sunken Gardens Theater here in San Antonio. Which there were no, in that venue, there were no seats that were far away. Like wherever you sat, you were like at a decent distance from the stage. And believe it or not, it was Richard Marx. It was the year his first album came out, and it was just like all the rage. And that was the very first concert I actually attended, and it was actually really cool. He's done some great. He's made some great music, but more so, he's done a lot of producing since then. And he used to do a podcast that unfortunately he never got back to. But yeah, but that was probably my first concert ever was my most memorable. I know it's not the same, but you mentioned Backstreet Boys. In Sync is where we got Justin Timberlake from, and he's another one who's on tour in North America this year. And unfortunately, he's in San Antonio and Austin one of the weekends that I'm in Orlando. So I'm like, that's one of the few concerts I have left that I want to go see. So
all I'm saying is they make airplanes that fly from Orlando to Austin.
I just don't know if he's Ed Sheeran level. I don't know if he's Ed Sheeran level in terms of that kind of commitment, but we shall see.
Are you kidding?
Whoa.
I'm just saying, I'm speaking for my own personal investment of flying literally Friday night, seeing the show Saturday, and flying back Sunday to Orlando. So, you know.
What are you even saying right now? He's the person to do that for.
Yeah.
He's one of, but I don't know. I haven't decided.
We've got to work on him a little bit. And yeah.
I have to show this comment because it's so funny. Savage says, I was in kindergarten in 2002. Thanks, Savage. Thanks.
I graduated high school in 2002. And I saw some of the comments, and I'm like, okay, look, I am not remembering or like not counting festivals in concerts. And so I if I can add one in,
sure.
At the same, there were two different festivals. The pharmacy that I worked at ran a general store booth, and if you were selected for tickets, you would work a 4-hour shift, but then you had the entire rest of the day to do whatever you wanted. So I got to see oh my god, my mind just went blank. I got to see AWOL Nation, and I crowd surfed at AWOL Nation, and then I also got to see Slayer.
Nice.
And I crowd surfed and got into the mosh pit, and then I think that's how I cut my nose and needed like a couple stitches. That's fine.
Oh man, that reminds me. So my favorite festival experience. I was Jen and I went to the second Lollapalooza tour ever, and it was headlined by Red Hot Chili Peppers. Pearl Jam had just broken out. They opened the show. Jesus and Mary Chain, the band that I decided to take a break and go get water and food because I'm like, I don't know who they are. They're nobody. Soundgarden. I mean, it was just, the whole show was fantastic. But what I learned that day, and this would have been 93, Jen and I got married in 92. I learned my wife's capability for violence because she and I were on the outskirts of the mosh pit, like literally one line away from the mosh pit, and it would drift toward us, and she would just stick out her elbows and start swinging, and I'm like, oh, I love this woman. And so,
I also love that woman, so
same.
So yeah,
what's up with you, also?
But yeah, there you go.
I'm just gonna say, Sergio, I didn't know any of those bands that you just said at that 93. But to put perspective, I was 3.
Thanks.
I was 3 years old.
Well, so I have to ask you, Rika, rattle off for me bands that you do know that are, say, in your top 5.
Oh my god.
Or artists.
Don't. Okay, so Nick, my husband's probably gonna kill me because he was like, Rika, you know this. So I do like System of a Down. I think that's a good band.
Yeah.
I don't know if Papa Roach is considered a good like a band, but I like his.
That's your preference, yeah.
Okay, yeah. But then of course I said like NSYNC, Backstreet Boys. Those were all like my jam.
Okay.
And I still like those. Yeah. I think that's me. Spice Girls,
that's
yes.
Cool.
Spice Girls was the holy grail.
The holy grail. I like that. Okay, that helps me. That helps me to understand why you don't like good artists.
Wow.
But now I feel like I need to teach you. So when I see you at work, Rika, I'm going to start to introduce you to Billy Joel and some of these other artists.
Billy Joel has to be first, and I'll off camera later on, Rika, I'll tell you a Billy Joel story.
Yeah, she'll tell you why she hates him. All right. So as we go through that first question, we've killed 17 minutes, and so there you go. But yeah, no, music is always one of those things that's for me, it holds a lot of memories. It holds a lot of, like I literally fall asleep every night with music, and I sleep with earbuds because for me music is very soothing. I don't know about y'all, but I find myself stuck sort of in a time warp in that I couldn't name you today's new artists. I mean, I don't know who they are. Like, and to go even further back on how this works for me, Rika, you mentioned NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, and so forth. I didn't start picking up on music from Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, New Kids on the Block until literally in the last 3 years. NSYNC, like 2 months ago. And it was just never in my wheelhouse of music that I listened to at the time, right? And it's funny the things that I go, oh, okay, that's kind of I like that. The style, works for me. NSYNC, not so much as Backstreet Boys, but I find myself in a place where I discover music way after it was a thing because of how stuck I am in the music I grew up with.
There's actually it's funny that you say that because Colin and I had that same conversation just a couple of days ago. Like if you look at our Spotify for the house, we have so I have the Spotify family, which is like five or six accounts under one kind of umbrella. You pay for it all at once. It's premium. So we have each family member has one, and then we have one for the house for all the Echo Dots in the house. And if you look at that one, it's like all out 90s, 2000s alternative radio, 90s alternative radio. Like it's all like right in there. And then you've got like my kid playing random, like whatever a 14-year-old or 13-year-old likes. And we're just like, what is this? And there was actually, we were just the same thing. We're like, all we listen to is 90s music. There's a whole playlist that I found out recently. It's called OR Music for Millennial Surgeons. And it's
that's phenomenal. So specific.
There's actually two of them, and one of the so the good one, in my opinion, is the one that says OR surgeon for OR music for millennial surgeons, and it has a white lab coat at the end of it. That one's really good. The other one's more like on the hip hop side of things. I'm more on the alternative side of things and rock side of things. So,
gotcha.
Here you go.
I looked at my, how at the end of the year, the apps will report back to you what your trends were. It literally Spotify fed me 4 playlists, and they all began with 80s. So that tells you where my frequency lies in terms of what I listen to. So, all right. Well, Rika, I want to ask you to start us off on the next question, because this is something I think we're all going to be able to relate to. What is your biggest time suck? What is the thing that you find yourself doing and you're like, oh shit, I've been doing this for a few hours. I should probably stop.
Oh, currently playing Monopoly on my phone.
Oh yeah?
Thanks to Nico. Yes. It has my screen time on that is ridiculous right now. Is playing that damn game. Yeah.
When did you start? I'm curious. Like, how long have you been playing it?
You don't want to know. I actually just started maybe like a week ago, and I'm not joking you. It's like every chance I get,
yeah,
I'm there checking that damn game and seeing who's attacking me and who's stealing my money. I don't know.
Don't be a liar. Do you play it at work? You do.
That does, but Sergio, to be fair, that doesn't necessarily exclude that maybe she's just playing it on lunch breaks.
Of course, break and lunch, absolutely.
100% of the time.
I would never think that Rika would do it
never
during her class.
Right.
No,
never.
You wouldn't either, I'm sure.
I wouldn't never do that.
Rika right now is like, this bitch is calling me out, right?
meaning him.
Potato.
That bitch, not me.
I'm calling Jeff right now.
I'm calling I'm going to call Mr. Chase.
Mr. Chase.
Papa Chase. It's
Papa Chase.
Yeah.
I was going to say Daddy Chase, but that's not. We're not going to go there.
So,
anyway,
Monopoly Go, is that the game?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the game.
I have resisted. I love Monopoly, the game, and I have resisted getting that app, and now I'm glad.
Don't do it.
Yeah, I'm glad you said not to.
Don't do it.
Well, actually, do it so you can give me points. So
yeah. So you can give her gifts and stuff.
Oh goodness. Yeah. Well, now I'm tempted. I'm so easily swayed. So, what about you, Susan? What's your biggest time suck right now?
I have it. I'm going to say it's split between two of them.
Mm-hmm.
Sudoku, because I don't know, like my brain works with numbers and it helps me if I do like a quick little Sudoku puzzle and I'm like, okay, I can focus on stuff for the rest of the day. The other one, and I will fully blame my children for this, as of January 7th, because it was my birthday, we decided to do Pokemon Go, and I had played Pokemon Go before. And my kid said something about it. And I was like, oh yeah, I think I still have that installed. And I had to like log back in. Oh my God. Every day. I get to my work, like the place that I usually park around work. And there is like two little, Pokestops. And I'm like, I'm gonna do my little thing. Yeah. And then when I walk from my car to the hospital, there's two on the way. And then there's a gym. And I'm like, I'm going to do this while I'm here.
Yeah. Rika, we've been at dinner, Susan and I look over and she's Pokemoning and I'm like,
First of all,
sitting right here.
You need to go ahead and tell her what you were doing first. Go ahead.
Waiting for you to order because the waiter was sitting there.
I have pictures of that one because you were definitely not.
Nico says, I'm still playing Snake on my Nokia phone. That's awesome. I love it. You already have Nico on chat. That's awesome. Oh, that's older Nico. Okay, got it. I was like, man, your kid's already out there typing in the chat. That's awesome.
No, that's the grown man one.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the man child.
Yeah, who we hope to have on the show sometime to talk about his wrestling action figure obsession, because I think it's awesome. So
yeah, Nico, have your people call our people.
That's right.
Meaning
Rika, talk to us.
Them.
Exactly.
I don't have anything to do with that.
Gator mentions, he says, I just stayed at my old man phone games and Block Puzzle. I'm not sure what Block Puzzle is, Gator, so if you want to let us know in the chat. For me, the time suck I find, if I'm not working on a project, which thankfully I'm kind of back in the flow of doing that, the thing that I know, whenever I find time to sort of wind down, I used to watch movies. That was my thing. I loved watching movies. But about 4 months ago, I finally went down the rabbit hole of YouTube, like YouTube anything. And now I watch endless hours of YouTube videos of so many different sorts. Like my big obsession right now is either GQ does a series of called Actors on Actors, where two actors will interview one another and discuss their films and their history in the business and so forth. And just so many videos of that. And then the other one is people. It's a YouTube channel called The Insider, and they get experts on stuff to break down movie like accuracy. So like they'll have a guy who's an expert in armor and medieval, fighting. And so he'll look at 7 or 8, 9, movies and rate the accuracy, right? Or, there was one, a woman who was a psychologist, and she broke down like arguments that occurred in films and like pointed out, okay, well, this person's gaslighting and this is what that looks like. And, oh, look how they resolved it. And I just sit there fascinated. And so like if let's say I sit down at 7:30 because I'm ready to wind down my night, I'll look up, it's 11:30. And I've just been going for 4 hours on YouTube. So watching videos, that's become my biggest time suck right now is YouTube.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You're such a nerd.
Yeah. I take that as a compliment now.
You
I've worked hard to get there. Worked hard to get there. Let's see. I love seeing this one because I was so stoked. Savage says that their current time suck has been 90s professional wrestling. Savage Gator, we're not done talking about this because y'all are right in my wheelhouse of pro wrestling and stuff I love as we talked about that night. So I'm glad to know that that's continuing because that's a lot of fun for me to see. All right. So if you had to, and again, if you're joining us just now in the midpoint of the show, we are just hanging out with Rika, talking about different questions and such. The next one, guys, if you had to eat one meal that you prepare for the rest of your life, it's something you prepare, and it was the only meal you could have for the remainder of your time on Earth, what would that be? It has to be something that you yourself are like, that's my jam, that's my thing.
I got it. I'm ready. I'm gonna go noodle junk. I could eat noodle junk. I could eat noodle junk for a million billion years because it's so versatile. You can change all the things in it. Like you can change if you don't want beef, ground beef. You could use ground pork, ground chicken. If you want, I always use rotini noodles. I use garden rotini noodles because you have to have the color. You could.
What's your standard recipe? Like what? Where did it begin? Give us the history.
So OG, it started with my dad. There is noodle junk and there's rice junk. Just same thing except for replace noodles with rice. So it's garden rotini noodles, ground beef, tomato sauce, and diced tomatoes. And you cook it all together. Well, there's a process to it, but anyway, you do like saute onions, ground beef, drain it, put boiled rotini noodles, and then tomato sauce, diced tomatoes, and then spices, salt, pepper, garlic, all that fun stuff. And then let me tell you, you can put, my dad likes to put Parmesan cheese, the fridge Parmesan cheese. He called it cat box cheese when I was a kid. And a pat of butter.
Of course.
Okay. You have to whenever you try this, you will try this and you will have it and you will say, oh my God, this butter makes it.
Because what would you say is the most exotic you've gotten with it?
Oh,
you talk about its versatility.
So I because of stuff going on in the house with health stuff, like with Rep 4 Collins transplant, we switched from beef to ground chicken and ground pork, just for the little bit of like change in health. It's a different chemical. So we did ground chicken, and instead of ground pork, we did ground pork sausage, like that comes in the similar to ground pork. There's ground pork sausage, and we did. I've added bacon to it. We did like Italian spices and all that fun stuff. So it was kind of like, it was more spaghetti-ish.
Yeah.
But was it was really fun.
And the base is those rotini.
Yeah, the garden rotini noodles, because it's got the green, it's got the orange, it's got the white. I mean, it's all you need.
Vegetables.
It's all your vegetables. It's basically a salad. Because it's got onions, garlic, all that stuff. But like yeah, when we used to make it as a kid, it was like my favorite thing my dad used to make. And And again, you can make it with rice as well, and it's just called rice junk.
Gotcha.
Some people put corn in it, and I'm like, you turn corn on the side. Okay, corn on the side. Don't mix it in because that's weird.
There's a limit. There is a line.
There's a limit. Okay.
Yeah. Our friend Rika is culinarily trained. So Rika, I'm curious what your answer would be to that question.
Oh, I think if I like one meal that I'll cook is forever. This is just me. Is probably my lasagna. I could eat it every day for the rest of my life, but it's just so time consuming to make.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
But those always are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. You know, and I'm not a basic bee. Like I like to add and yeah.
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 Well, you'll find it interesting then to know that Nick said that outside of your lasagna, he could just literally eat bologna sandwiches 10 times a day. So
that fool could eat bologna sandwiches, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, in between.
That's
bologna and cheese. That's it. That's all he'll eat, and butter bread.
Yeah.
We moved up in life. It's butter no longer just that good old plain white bread. It's you have to have the butter bread or the brioche bread.
So, absolutely. Yeah. I'm a big butter bread fan. I do need to let Nick know a throwback to our previous question. He had mentioned in the chat that one of his time sucks is watching two guys build little houses with bamboo and mud. I need that channel, Nick. So you have homework.
Don't.
It's a trap. It's a trap.
That's a trap I'm willing to go into. Absolutely.
Don't do it. Him and my daughter both. Well, your daughter, but our daughter.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should fix my name. It should say Deadbeat Dad instead of Dyslexic Potato. Apparently.
I think that's a great idea. It fits you well since you don't pay child support.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna lose half our viewers. He did what?
There's what? Yeah, they were talking about this, and they're like, "This is gonna come up," and I was like, "Okay."
Oh, Rika always finds a way. Rika always finds a way. So
yeah,
very first day I met my boss in person. She's like, Sergio, did you know Sergio's my baby daddy? I'm like, oh God, here we go. Like,
yeah, he turned so red. He was so red. He was mortified.
Oh my gosh, Mila said, Mila said, "Daddy, is that you?" I said, "No, that's your other dad." Sorry. Oh my God, I'm dying over here. I am dying. Oh, to those of you who don't know, you won't know. So anything Rika says is a lie. So yeah, for myself, speaking of the question, it's funny you brought up lasagna, Rika, because that's literally my answer. Like, I love making lasagna. It's so, like, for me, it's the complexity of it is sort of soothing because it's like, for me, cooking is very therapeutic. And so I haven't made it in such a long time, but like now that I've heard you say, I'm like, I need to do that. I have not had a chance to do that. So
at least 5 years, because I haven't heard of it.
And I know you've done it. But what I love about Sergio too, because him and I both culinary trained, but it's so versatile, like you said. Like you made chicken ones, I think for Jen one time. You made like a chicken spinach lasagna. You could just do so much with it. It's such a good dish.
Very versatile dish, absolutely. Yeah, if I have time, since you're coming to help paint, Susan, if I have time, I'll try and make it this weekend. So, since you're going to help out, Gator says creamy Cajun pasta. Which, by the way, if you're watching and you have not followed Good Old Gator on TikTok, make sure you do because his cooking videos are fire. I'll say it every time.
Find his creamy Cajun chicken.
Yeah,
creamy Cajun pasta. And make it, because I did, and I can vouch.
Yeah, good stuff.
Absolutely,
I'm gonna have to try it.
Top 5, at least top 5, maybe top 3 even.
Yeah, and he doesn't pay us to say this, just in case people are wondering. I need to hang out with our buddy Drew because his dish would be buttermilk chicken with mashed potatoes. Yeah.
Also top 3. I make really damn good fried chicken, I like to say.
Yeah.
Hey,
I keep hitting things. What am I doing?
Drew, question. With your buttermilk and chicken and mashed potatoes, do you also serve corn? And if so, do you mix the corn with the mashed potatoes? Because that is the correct answer.
I agree.
I agree.
If you don't, who are you? What kind of human are you if you're not mixing the corn with the mashed potatoes?
It's like, for me, the equivalent is fried. Rice and beans. Wait, what?
Not fried?
Not fried?
What?
I need a description of this. I need a description of buttermilk chicken then. Please tell
me. Our guest next week is going to be Drew because he's going to talk about this.
We have more to talk about with Drew anyway. So.
Yeah, not fried. That's interesting.
Is it like creamy buttermilk chicken?
Anytime corn is served with taters, the answer is yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Drew, we're best friends now.
We're going to get hung up on this chicken dish and we need Drew to report back for sure.
Yeah. What is it buttermilk? Like, is it a creamy buttermilk chicken? Like, I'm very curious now.
All right. Best chicken dish that you cook. Ready? For me, it's wings. Rika? Best chicken dish you cook, and then Susan.
Chicken fried chicken.
Oh.
Chicken fried chicken.
Yo quiero.
Lemon butter chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. Excellent.
Lemon butter. Creamy lemon butter chicken, I think it was actually called.
Gotcha. Yeah. Gotcha.
Followed closely by fried chicken.
What is the oddest food that you have in either your fridge or pantry? The oddest food item that you have in either your fridge or pantry at this moment. I keep Reese's peanut butter cups in my fridge. So that's mine.
The strangest or oddest thing I have is a 2-pound bag of white mulberries.
For mead?
Dried white mulberries. No, for roasting. You take the mulberries, you put them on a baking dish, you roast them in the oven 375 for 20 minutes, and they are candy. They are crunchy and they're delicious and they're candy, and I will eat them until I die because amazing. Okay.
Wow. Rick, what about you?
Well, I can't.
You're like, not mulberries.
Yeah, not mulberries. I don't think there's anything.
Not bologna.
Yeah.
She makes it bologna roll.
Bologna. I don't think that it's an odd, but like we always have canned hominy because we like to eat hominy with just bacon for like food. I don't know.
Explain.
I don't know. So, growing up, we used to like cut up bacon, cut it in little pieces, fry it, and then with the bacon grease, we would drain a can of hominy and cook it with salt and pepper with the mixed in bacon. And
that sounds amazing.
Cook it enough to warm it,
right,
and eat it, and it's chef's kiss. I love it.
Okay, so I'm coming to San Antonio this weekend because I'm helping.
Oh no, we lost Rika.
No.
Let's bring her back. There she is. She's. I didn't send her away.
So here's what I was saying before you just decided to leave. Anyway, I'm coming to San Antonio this weekend. I'm just saying, could thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's easy to make, and it's so good. It's super easy. My husband hates it. Like because
he's not bologna.
Yeah, it's not bologna. Obviously, with butter bread.
Yeah. Maybe if you instead of bacon, make it from add bologna to it instead of bacon. Yeah, now you hate it. That's interesting. I've never. So you basically just chop up and render the bacon and then fry the hominy in it. And is it a side dish?
Well, I mean, it could be a side dish. I know growing up, my grandfather used to eat it with over easy eggs.
Oh, okay.
Got it. So, but for me, I'm not a big egg eater, and so I just like to eat it on its own.
Me neither.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it's delicious.
Hey, that's a food episode if I ever found one. So I'm gonna have to recreate that, Rika. You'll have to let me know if I did it right. So
okay, yeah. Well, maybe you can invite me to your food show, and I could teach you a few things.
I like the sound of that. I like the sound of that. All right. Interesting. All right, we're gonna shift gears here. We still have a little bit of time left. Go ahead, Susan. Were you gonna?
I was just saying that there's some interesting comments in the chat about strange items. Cullen mentioned we have black garlic, but we used it. But this whole other conversation going on.
I just saw gators. I
keep going.
Okay.
Keep going. Black garlic, if you don't know what it is, black garlic is garlic that has been fermented, and so it has a very, very rich, very umami flavor. It goes really well and replaces sun-dried tomatoes for people who don't like them.
When you eat it, you go, ooh, mommy.
You know I do.
No.
All righty.
You know I do.
Before we go too far to the left, change of gears here. What are people surprised to learn about you? When people start to get to know you, what are people surprised to learn about you?
You go first. We've gone first. We've gone first a whole bunch of times. You have
mine. Well, I'm trying to be a gracious host, but no, I don't mind because it's one that both of you know. People are always surprised at the fact that I am 1000% socially awkward. I am not. I'm shy. Rika, how many work external events have I ever been to in 11 years with the company?
It's not just external; it's internal events too.
It is.
Like,
yeah.
This is like him fixing his shirt. Like, are you sure? Are you sure we should go to this? Like, do I have to go? I can just eat my lunch over here. Yeah, he is very socially awkward.
Yeah, people are all because they see. If it's work, they see me teaching or they see, the interaction. But when in a situation where I have to socialize, I'm extremely, extremely shy, and it's very nerve-wracking for me. So that's mine. People are always shocked by that.
Yeah.
That in addition to being a jack of all trades, I'm also I have a lot of not feminine hobbies. Like I brew beer, I ride a motorcycle, and I smoke cigars on occasion. I'm basically one of the dudes.
One of the dudes. I love that.
I'm one of the dudes.
You're one of the bros.
I'm one of the bros.
One of the bros.
It's true. It's true. I am.
Rico, what about you?
I don't really know because,
can I tell you what surprised me?
Yeah, absolutely.
That you had a history of doing, if I remember correctly, you used to do makeup tutorials. I don't know why that threw me for a loop when I found that out.
Yes, Yeah, so I would say that probably is something interesting that I used to be a makeup artist and I did put makeup tutorials out there in the world. I even had a YouTube channel at one point.
I need help.
So yeah, that's
bring it back.
And I was a pageant queen at one point.
Oh, I didn't know that. Talk about that.
All right, I'm Googling it.
I was Miss Texas Plus America 2014.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You learn something new about your mortal enemy every day.
That's right. I was out there trying to bring world peace.
Nice.
World peace.
Amazing.
I was only 8th grade spelling bee champion, so you win. So.
See, aren't you happy you had a baby with a pageant queen?
That explains the beauty of me. Well, both of our children that aren't mine. So
yeah.
I'm so glad Nick's on so that he doesn't watch later and go, "What the hell were y'all talking about?" So
he gets it. He knows. If you know, you know.
All right, let's see. Drew says I have a love-hate relationship with going out. I'm an introvert, but I kind of like hanging out with peoples. I understand that. I do understand that. Oh, Nick has a request. He says, please do your pageant dance. I don't know what that means.
Sometimes. Cullen, you don't need to know.
I mean, I kind of do.
No.
Are there videos online? Because I've already found your Facebook page.
Because what he's talking about is I competed for Miss Fiesta. I think it was like 2012, and we had to learn a dance, and it was to an Usher song, and it was in front of hundreds of people, you know. And so your girl was out there dancing.
Were you doing magic hands? So
magic hands, yeah.
There you go. Well, we'll have to make that happen someday soon. So, all right, couple more. This one is going to require a little bit of thought. Yeah. If you wrote a book about one of the other people on this show tonight, or both, what would the title of that book be? If you wrote a book about either one of the other people on the show, what would the title of that book be? And I can bet you money that Susan can guess what my title for her.
That's why I'm making this reaction, because I already know. You already know. I hate you so much.
And I've never told her.
No, but I already know.
Oh my gosh.
I think if Rika wrote a book about me, it would be called My Best Friend Ever.
In your dreams, bro. I'm gonna, if that's okay, I'm gonna go first.
Go for it.
Yep.
Okay, Sergio, I feel like if it was the title for your book, it'd be like, I'm sexy, who dis?
I love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because he's always saying how sexy he is.
That's right.
In every aspect of his life.
Potato sexy,
rubs
though.
His tummy, as he rubs his tummy at work and pats it for me. Occasionally.
Oh, I was not anticipating this.
I have not seen this.
Yeah. I'll get you one, Susan. I'll get
Thank
you
you.
one.
Oh,
sure.
My.
Yeah.
I'm probably not even aware of half of what I do.
Oh, he does like his little face too, like a little like. I can't really do it, but yeah, he does the whole face. Yeah.
I have pictures. My. I've seen that. I've seen pictures of that one. That face.
You know. You know.
Goodness. Susan, what would the name of the book be if I wrote one about you?
Of course you did.
Exactly. That would be the title.
Thanks for that.
Tell the people why.
Because I do everything. I have done. He's like, hey.
Every story I've ever told her.
I swear to God, it's not on purpose. But he's like, oh, I want to do blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, yeah, there was this one time that I did blah, blah. And he's like, of course you did. So that's like literally, I think in his phone, I'm like, of course she did, or something like that. Every single time. Like,
I don't even have to type it anymore, Rika. I just send the letters OCYD. So.
And there are times when I say, okay, go ahead. Like I type out the thing and I'm like, all right, okay, go ahead. I left the door wide open for you. Go ahead.
Yep.
It's not my fault. I'm a diverse. I have diverse hobbies.
Okay.
Susan, you don't have to explain yourself. He lived a very boring first half of his life, while you were extroverted and living your best life.
Yeah, I don't know about all that.
Is extroverted, but like I am definitely. I love to learn new things. Like I am a learner of things. I love to learn things. I can fix things. I can break a whole lot more things. I can craft. I can make you just about anything. You're like, hey, I need, I don't know, some kind of crafted thing. And I'm all like, I know how to do that.
Yeah.
And chances are I have the supplies.
Yeah.
True.
In the last 3 days alone, I have installed a dryer. I have patched drywall. And I have built 2 or 3 furniture pieces. And for just about every one of those things, I knew that if I needed to, I didn't have to watch YouTube videos. I could just message Susan and be like, how do I do this?
Yeah, so, there was a point at which he was talking about there was a spot like a spot that he was talking about that needed to be patched, and I was like, well, I can do drywall work. He's like, of course you can. I'm like, God damn it. And he's like,
but yeah, so can I. Right there, that
look
patch,
at that.
I did that. So
like
there's finding skills I didn't know I had.
a TV stand or a desk or something. He's like, "You're gonna build this." I'm like,
Yeah.
I can do this.
Yeah.
Later on, the next show, you're gonna have a picture to hide your horrible drywall work.
No, that's what the paint's gonna do.
That's the paint.
Oh, okay. Makes
paint's
sense.
gonna take care of that. Rika, I have to ask you: is this true that you studied the Napoleon Dynamite dance and perfected it?
No, he's such a liar. I have honestly never even watched that entire movie because I don't see the humor in it.
I've never seen it. I've never seen it. Never wanted to.
Don't do it. So you know how you felt about Bridesmaids when
Yes.
you like turned it off?
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel about that damn movie. It is not funny to me at all.
Yeah.
No.
I agree. All right. Did we get everybody answer on that one? I think we did. Or Susan? We didn't from you.
No, we didn't. But I'm not terribly creative.
I think you would write a book about me and call it "Of Course He Didn't." I did.
No.
Oh, that's a good idea. I like that.
He don't know Jack.
He don't know Jack.
Yeah.
Let's see. No, I would. No. Okay, I got it. I would write a book about you, and I would call it No Balut.
I thought you were going to call it For Fuck's Sake.
For fuck's sake. But no, for fuck's sake, No Balut. The end.
Yeah.
And that's all that's going to be is inside. You're going to open. It's going to be like 16 blank pages, and then no, 4 more balut, and then that's it. The rest of the book is empty.
Rika, have you ever?
No, I've never tried balut before.
Okay.
But I will if you do.
It's never going to happen. It won't.
Yeah.
It won't.
I think we could do it though. I mean, there's a way. Like, you got to put vinegar on it, a little salt, a little pepper.
But it's the face. If you see the duck face, I'm just like.
But I have learned. Not all of them have they're not all full little ducks. We just gotta.
How about 1,000-year-old egg? Would y'all do that?
No. Hell no.
But is it really? But it's not even really 1,000-year-old egg.
Of course not. But it's just. I'm just saying.
It's like seasoned or some shit.
That's what we need to do the next time we have Rika on. Is we need to do weird food tastings. So live on the air.
So where are we gonna?
Whoever hurls first loses. So.
I have an iron stomach.
Yeah.
I have an iron.
I don't know what I would trust to do. All right. Final question. What if you had the opportunity, and I'll let you guys decide how you want to answer this question. The original question is, what advice would you give your 18-year-old self? Okay, if you could do that, if you could speak to that person, who you at 18, what advice would you give that person? If you want to modify the question to what advice period would you give to, anyone who's listening, or anybody who might run across the show, if you want to modify it to that, please feel free. But what advice would you say is the life advice you would give?
So I'm going to take over. I'm going to do the first one on this one. I will admit fully. Sometimes at work, we have students, we have interns, we have residents, we have orientees. Today we had a very young, this is probably her 3rd shift. Not the same position that I'm a circulating nurse, and she's a scrub tech. So that's the person that actually handles the tools and hands it to the surgeon. And she kept apologizing, and she kept apologizing, and she kept apologizing. And she said, "Oh, I'm just a student." And I pulled her aside before she left. I said, "You're not just a student. You are a student. You are learning. You are 100% valuable. And your experience is important. Your experience is valuable. You bring something to this team. You're not just anything. You are a student. You are a learner. You are, stuff like that." And I said, and also, stop apologizing and change it because that makes it negative. So change it to something positive. So don't say, "Oh, I'm sorry I messed it up." Say, "Hey, thanks for pointing out that mistake. I can learn from that." Yeah. Don't say, "Oh God, I'm sorry it took so long. Thank you for waiting." That's my biggest thing. And that's something that I wish that somebody had told me. Stop apologizing. Turn it from negative to positive. I'm sorry for, no. Thank you for, you know what I mean? And I also asked her if she'd seen the movie Pulp Fiction because I was going to tell her the same thing that I tell you and that you tell me. So That's what I
well,
wish.
Now I have to know what he tells you.
So have you seen Pulp Fiction?
I think I may have seen parts of it many moons ago.
Yeah.
It won't make sense unless you've seen this, unless you've seen the scene that I'm talking about. So the Samuel L. Jackson's character is interrogating someone else, and he keeps going, what? And so Samuel L. Jackson says, say what again? And so motherfucker. And so Sergio was apologizing for something. Like he kept saying sorry over and over. And I was like, so I sent him the GIF of Samuel L. Jackson. I just said, say sorry again, motherfucker. And so anytime now that he does an unnecessary apology, I just send him the GIF of Samuel L. Jackson from that scene.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Susan, for sharing that.
Yeah, that's a good one, Susan.
Rico, what about you?
Next? So I'm going to say like 18-year-old me, and this would go for anybody that I would be talking to, is just to be you, be authentic, and to like be unique and be bold. Because I think for me growing up, I just it's crazy because now you know me, I'm an extrovert. I talk to anybody and everybody. You see me and you can ask anybody.
Oh my God, stop talking to everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we go, like, we've literally traveled to California or to Las Vegas, and I've seen somebody that I know, and my sister-in-laws are like, how the fuck does this happen? Like, how do you know so many people? But growing up, I wasn't like that. I wasn't that extroverted, and I think it's just because I was shy and I didn't want to put myself out there and be scared to be let down. So as I got older, I was like, no, I'm going to be me. I'm going to be bold. I'm going to be unique, and I'm going to be authentic. I'm going to stay true to myself 100% of the time. And so I hope that I instill that in my kids, one, and then two, anybody else, because life is too short to live in a little bubble and not put yourself out there and be who you're supposed to be, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome. Susan, I have to tell you that almost on a daily basis, Rika and I will go to the cafeteria like for breakfast stuff, or at least a few times a week. And I'd say about 60% of the time, I'm like, I got to go back to my classroom, and I have to leave her because she's talking to somebody, and I'm like, I got to go.
Yeah, it's true.
So
it's true.
She's very dynamic that way.
Like, I don't want to talk to nobody. Let me just go back to my home.
I just want tacos. That's all I want.
Yeah.
I want my 3 pieces of bacon and potatoes.
Yeah. We've got some. Before I share mine, we've got some great thoughts from folks. Gator says he would tell himself, "Don't do that job." He'd probably still have more hair than if he hadn't. Drew shares, he would say, "Go work out." I understand that, and I'm walking with you right there, my brother.
Preach.
And Captain Sparkle Pants says, "Treat yourself like you're someone you love." I love that. I love that. Fantastic. For myself, I like sharing the piece of advice. I think it kind of goes for both, because I know that I didn't do this until much later in life because of something someone said to me. And what they said to me was, don't ever be afraid to be a learner. I had reached the point in my career where I thought, I'm supposed to know all this. I'm supposed to, we convince ourselves that all of a sudden we reach a point where we're supposed to be the experts. And if I'd known that from a younger age, that would be the advice I'd want to give myself is don't ever be afraid to be a learner. And it translates to how I teach now, because the piece of advice I love to give to my learners today is not just don't be afraid to be a learner, especially because Rika will tell you that we often teach classes not to new people, but to people who've been with the company for years. And they come in with this mindset of like, I already got this. I already know this. And it's like, no, you have to allow yourself to be a learner. And the thing that I tell students the most is stop being afraid of giving wrong answers.
Okay.
Give them. Whatever you think the answer is, right or wrong, say it. Because if it's right, awesome. If it's wrong, thank you for giving me a teaching moment. So it's like, I think people have been trained to think that wrong answers are this bad thing, when in reality they're a gift to the facilitator. And it's like, awesome. Now you get to help me build the right answer for everybody, not just for yourself. And so the advice I would give anyone, and especially my 18-year-old self, is don't be afraid to be a learner. I'm still learning, literally still learning. So, and I'm old. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know both of you would agree. Yeah. So, well, Rika, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you for making the time to join us.
Yeah,
of course. Thank you for having me. It was fun.
Indeed. Susan, I would say the same to you, but we do this all the time. And so
I mean, it's still great to have me.
Of course. Well, yeah, because I mean, you're the co-host, so you need to be here. But
I mean, but it's still great, okay?
I was trying to give you a compliment.
I'm sorry.
Awkward as it may have been.
Thank you.
But no, it's been great. Thank you all, both of you. And thank you to everyone who's in the chat tonight. We've had a really strong group of folks watching. We appreciate you being here. If you're watching this on YouTube, number one, thank you. Number two, give this episode a like. Also, if you haven't yet clicked that subscribe button, it takes 2 seconds. Do it now. Help us to grow this channel. Yeah, we won't judge you yet. But if you keep coming back and you haven't hit subscribe, tell me why. We'll talk you into it.
Tell me why.
And also, don't forget to click that notification bell so you know when our episodes land. And if you're watching this after the fact, thank you. We appreciate you stopping by. We really appreciate it. If you're watching us on Facebook Live, thank you. Go to YouTube. So
share it with everyone you know, and you're like, hey, these guys are really funny, and they're like, I don't like funny people. Be like, well, they're pretty, and then they're like, I don't like pretty people either. And be like, well, then it sucks to be you. But anyway, there's a potato.
There's a potato. Yes, there's a human potato.
Everybody loves potatoes. Okay. So, but no, yeah, share it with everybody you know. Like, pass it around. Give us some feedback. We love to hear it too. And some ideas. If you're like, hey, this thing would be really cool to hear you guys talk about. We love talking about things. Everything.
Absolutely. Well, Rika, we hope to have you back soon. Thank you so much for hanging out. Susan, as always, you're awesome. And as I like to say to all of you every single week, which we will be back next week, so make sure you join us. Never forget, you're awesome, you're amazing, and the world's a better place because you are in it. We will see you next time on A Few Minutes With. Good night, everybody.